And there we go, 10 o'clock. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. So there is a handout, but there's not. So I wanna tell you why I'm saying that. I will be working from this book right here. This is a booklet from a class that I took. I have to tell you, it is excellent. It was kind of a master class on listings, and it's the entire listing process. And if you're gonna just stick it in a drawer, don't take it. But if you think you'll look at this and you'd like to have it, please take one. If you need one, I can make more. I did not plan on this many people coming, but if we could just share during the class. But I'm gonna be kind of loosely going from this, so it's not even like you need the book in order to follow along with me. And I'm gonna be talking about chapter 5. So, this is from prospecting to end, and we're just talking about pricing today. And so I'm kind of using this as a outline for myself, but we're also just going to talk. Okay. So the last class we had was kind of arriving at a price, right? How to do your research, how to pull a CMA, how to look at it, how to decide for yourself before the listing appointment where you'd like to see pricing be. And then today is, okay, now I've done that. I've done all the other things from the listing appointment. I've built rapport, I've talked about staging, I've talked about the process, and now we're going to talk about pricing. I am going to tell you what I did, but we've got some bets here. I want this to be an interactive conversation for everyone. So I would love it if somebody says, I like what you did there. I do this, or I want us to get lots of information today. The way I usually start talking about pricing with the seller is, let me go back.
Are you recording?
I am recording. Yeah, let me go back. On page 22 of this handout, I've highlighted some things. Trust and credibility are key to gaining the type of rapport you want. It is possible for them to like you and not trust you. We talked about that, right? It even talks about that friend you love to hang out with that tells the greatest stories, but you wouldn't necessarily list your house with them, right? They're fine. But so liking you, people work with people they know, like, and trust. Know is important, like is important. Trust is the most important. And we have to earn trust. So we want a listing presentation that's very natural and organic. So there really is, and I struggle with this because I see too many realtors that are too natural and organic. And it's like, be a professional. But you cannot go in there and just do a presentation. You can't do it. The minute you've had the window guy come in, you can't be the window guy. You just can't do it. So you have to have all your professional homework done up front so that then you can literally come in and almost be like this, right? So it needs to be professional, but at this point, now I'm giving you a presentation, but I'm doing it as a conversation. So that is really important that you work kind of towards that, because that's when they're going to feel like, I really trust her. I really feel good with her. One of the best ways to develop trust with the customer is to educate them. So that's where I'm telling you stuff, but I'm saying it with authority, right? So yeah, I'm acting like we're just talking here, but when you give me something that just isn't going to work, I'm going to then educate you. You know what? I understand why you're asking that or why you're thinking that. Here's what's going to happen if we try to do that, right? You have to be confident and kind of the one in charge. It's just this little dance, right? While also being conversational and right? So you have to be willing to educate them, to explain them not just where the market is, but why the market is where it is, right? Giving them information to make them a more educated as consumer, regardless of whether they work with you or not. And that's where that little dialogue comes in at the very beginning of the listing appointment. I always said, listen, I want to make sure we understand why I'm here today. To me, the reason I'm here is you have a very important decision to make. And in order to make a great decision, you need a lot of information. My job today is to give you the information you need to make a good decision. You may or may not list today. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to give you the information to make a good decision. Does that sound good? Right? And they're like, yeah, sounds good. then I can wind right back to that at the end of the listing conversation and say, okay, as I stated in the beginning, my goal today was, do you feel you have the information now, right? So, you know, letting them know that that's the reason you're there and that you want to explain to them things well so that they can make a good decision. So the nice thing about this, you don't need to brag about past sales. You don't need to talk about why this and why that and why it's me and it's not about you at that point. So letting them know, I'm here for you, I'm here to do this for you, it establishes that trust. When you're there trying to say why your windows are better than everybody else's windows, it's just, okay, now I'm hearing the sales pitch and they don't want a sales pitch. People, what is that? People love to buy. What is that? People love to buy. They hate being sold to. Right? Yes, yes. People love to buy, they just don't like being sold to. Okay, so now I'm going to get back to what I was talking about. The way I always broke into pricing is, I would say, but the way I see it is, people always say location, location, location. It's a very old-fashioned saying about real estate: location, location, location. And while location is very important, what I find is that there are actually three important factors: location, condition, and price. Location cannot be changed. It's either gonna work for you or it's not. Condition can be changed and made to work for you. Price is determined on location and condition. So if you want a better price, you can't change location. You can change condition to make price go up and down, but once those are set, then price is set. Make sense? Great. So what we need to do is we've talked about, because I walked through the house with them, I've already talked to them about condition. Now, here's where I'd like some input. A lot of teaching nowadays is saying, listen, a lot of your special sauce is that staging advice you give as you're walking through the home. A lot of agents do not give that advice as they're walking through the home. They say, okay, when you list with me, you'll get a complete list of all the things to do to get the house in market ready condition. They don't give that away. I'm curious, where are we, those agents who are listing, what are we doing? Are we giving away the staging and cleaning and decluttering advice as we're walking through, or are we holding on to that until they list with you?
I do. I'm holding on to it.
Are you?
Yeah, I
used
to give it.
You're giving it.
Yeah, and I only recently, but I feel like so many homes I've been in are so so as we're walking and talking and the client is saying, you're here, we want to hear what we need.
I get that.
And so I felt the last one, it was okay to say, you need a storage unit.
Well, let's go back to, I want to hear what you had to say, and then I want to come back to that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so yesterday, I think it was, we were talking in
Casey.
Mastermind, or what Cassiana does, and like, she had a great point, because you can spend a ton of time on a listing appointment. I've done it many times, where you set aside an hour and a half and it turns into 2.5 hours, because they're excited, they want your expertise, they want all your information. And so then I'll give this full-blown listing presentation along with, let's take another walkthrough and I'll tell you all the things to do. And then they're like, awesome, we'll work on this stuff and we'll check in with you in like 3 weeks. And then 3 weeks come and go, and like, I've already sent a follow-up card, I texted them, thank you, let's set something up. And then you find out they list it with their cousin out of Lansing, or they do a for sale by owner, like, you gave them all the meat and potatoes. And then they do it themselves, or they go with somebody else who only comes in and goes, yeah, Zillow says this, let's just list it at this. So I started doing it more in a two-step, where I'll go and meet them and we'll talk about their goals, and I'll tour the house and I take my own notes. And I'll say, well, the next step, if you decide to list with me, then, I'll come back here and give you I'll give you pricing, I'll give you you know, what you need to do, but like, it sounds like you need to talk about what you wanna do moving forward, so.
You don't give them price when you first meet them?
I might give them a range, but Zillow will give you a range.
Mhm.
But I wanna, like what Lisa's saying, more of a, you're developing trust with them. Cause if you come in and give all the bells and whistles like right up front, then it does sound like a sales pitch.
Okay, so I wanna take a step back though. If we're really, the difference here is the full fee agent concept. The difference here is you're not even in their house until they've committed to working with you, right? If you're full
Oh.
fee agent,
Mhm.
you have interviewed them so hard that they almost have to prove to you that, yes, we want you, please, we'll sign there. You know, before you'll even go meet with them. This is the beauty of repeat and referral business, right? This is the beauty of that, is that rarely when you've built a repeat and referral business, rarely do you get in the house and find that there's a choice.
Yeah.
Right, it's, they've called you, they're listening with you, it's fine, and I have to admit, sometimes I teach to that, cause that was my experience, and I forget that it's not like that until you build that
It's-
repeat and referral business, that you get to the point where, you know, did you call anyone else? No, I didn't call anyone else, you're a realtor. you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, so super
Yeah.
true on that like if they are repeat and referral and there's
Mhm.
no question that they're going with me, then I will tell them.
Yeah.
And that,
But if it's like a friend of a friend told me that I should call you and
And
we're
I'm
also talking to
yes.
so and so and so and so, then I do
Yeah.
a walkthrough so I know what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
And then
Good.
go from there.
So I feel like it's hard to, because when you're in both boats of like, I'm walking in that house and we're signing and we're coming up with a number and it's photos or tomorrow and you know, like it's done.
Yeah.
But then there's the other side where you're like, I've never met you, I've never seen your house, and so that's, to me, I'm not spending the same amount of time and questions on each of those. It's a
Yeah.
time, right, but it's
Yeah.
very different, and
Yeah.
so on this person you've never met. If you wanna list your home, let's say in a month, and we're meeting,
Mhm.
when am I gonna give you that information and then sign a listing agreement? And then in 3 weeks, when you do what I told you needed to be done, then I come back, like, how do you,
So.
when do you give that information that you're like, I'm holding this until you verbally tell me that you've decided to work with me, or do you get a listing agreement signed?
It kind of depends on
Yeah.
if they are a repeat and one of your A1 clients, then
Yeah.
I'll give you, like, let's work together. We're friends. We're doing this. We're a team already. But like I had one a few weeks ago that she called me because a friend referred her to me, but we hadn't met, but she also had a real estate friend out of Grand Rapids. And like I did the walkthrough and I had a net sheet and I gave her just a sample net sheet. And this is because I think that's important too. And she said, she pulled up her friend's net sheet and she goes, well, she'll do it for 2%. And I
Of
said,
course, there's your
"Then
agent."
I can't match that, you know, sorry, like if she's, but I'm 3.5, you know, on my side, and then the other side is negotiable, but here's what to expect, and I said, listen, I feel good vibes here, I feel like I'm a local agent, I'm very experienced in this area, I could really help you, but this is your decision. And if you decide then you wanna work with me, then we'll talk about all the other things that you do. And she called me back the next day and was like, I wanna work with you, like,
good for you.
you know, I want a local person that I can
Mhm.
trust and I got a good vibe too, so. You know, I think you have to do it kind of.
Case by
Case
case.
by
I think
Yeah.
it's,
It's case by
yeah, I
case.
think it's each, I think
To me.
everyone is different.
Everyone is
I
different.
think no two listing appointments are the same.
I will say though, as you build that repeat and referral more and more and more and more, it's not different, it's, yeah, you're my client, I'm your agent.
Right.
Let's get this thing done.
Right.
Okay, I do wanna get to the pricing discussion, this is great discussion, but last week or last class, we did one house and ran out of time, so
Yeah.
I wanna stay.
I'll keep my mouth shut.
No, it's not that
Yeah,
at
like
all.
cause I.
No, it's not that at all. It's me saying, Lisa, don't sit here and just chat about other things all day. Okay, so, location, condition and price. We've already talked about location and then either we've already talked about condition or, you know, when you decide to list with me, we'll talk about all the things you need to do to get the house ready. So now it's time to talk about price. And again, that time to talk about price varies, but when it's time to talk about price, that's how I kind of lead into that. Price is a tool that we can use. If we're not willing to work on commission, then price will be affected. They all work together and they all have to match. Okay, so then I pull out a one-line CMA, and that's all I pull out. I do not do a full-on CMA because again, I don't do a presentation, it's a conversation, right? And
None of those are like my own.
we'll get there, thank you, hold that
Yeah.
thought,
Mhm.
thank you very much.
Yeah.
So I actually started off with saying, okay. The only way to determine what a buyer's willing to pay for your house is to look at what buyers are willing to pay for your house. See, it's the best way that we've found to determine that. If you were, and I say this to the seller, now if they are a little house on a numbered street, you know, since you are this house on a numbered street, I can literally pull up houses that were built by the same builder the same year that are exactly like your house, other than condition. And we can very easily price your home. That's the odd one out, that they actually are that. But usually what I say to them is, if you were a little house on a numbered street, I could show you 5 houses just like yours. But every house is unique. So I am not gonna find your exact home. What I'm going to find is what we call comparable homes. Homes that have similar square feet, similar number of bedrooms, similar number of baths. And we're gonna use those comps to determine a range of where we feel comfortable that you would fit into the market. So I'm gonna tell them right up front, we're not gonna see your home here, right? That, of course, we're not going to see your home unless it's an expired. And then we are gonna see your home, and I already know it's overpriced because you didn't sell, but that's another thing. Okay, so present it the way you want to present it. You know I'm a numbers person. So all this numbery stuff, you might listen to it and be like, oh, you know, again, I said present, I shouldn't have, right? Converse, whatever. For me, starting off with numbers works for me because that's the kind of person I am. So I say to them, the first thing I do is I just highlight some of the numbers that I see here because it gives us a starting point, okay? I love using average sale price because it's usually low, right? I love, you know, that whole thing that they talk about on Full Fee Agent, set a low marker, right? Have them afraid that you're gonna say 200 and ecstatic when it turns out you're not, right? I want that, I want them to be ready to throw me out, okay? So I say, the first thing I will look at is how many houses have sold in the last year versus how many are currently on the market. 14 have sold in the last year, there are currently 3 on the market, 1 pending. That means if 14 sell in a year and there's 3 on the market, there's about 2 to 3 months worth of inventory on the market right now. But a 4 on the market would not be too many because we know 14 sell in a year. Sounds like we can plan on selling in, you know, a 3-month period within 3 months would be reasonable. And, you know, and they're taking my word for all of this because they don't have an opinion on number of houses on the market, right? The next thing I just do is I like to look at the averages, right? The average list price is $245. I'm sorry, I pulled 175 South Ridgeway Drive. Anybody else familiar with this one? I'll even pass it around. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. It's currently on the market, okay? I look at the average list price right now is about $245. House went pending this month at $239. And the average sale price is about $234. What's that priced at?
300.
Right?
And
I
30
am-
days on market.
What's the address?
No,
I think
it hasn't been on the
Oh,
market
it
super
hasn't?
long.
175.
And
Yeah,
frankly,
I sold that house.
I'm not super convinced it's overpriced, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
But I want them to see
Horrible.
I want them to see 234.
Mhm.
Because if they're thinking 300, I want them scared right now that she thinks it's gonna be 234. I want them to feel that way, right? Okay, so and the average price, sale price is 234. These houses have sold on average in 51 days, and we said about 30 days, so I didn't mean to say 3 months, I meant to say 30 days. No, I did mean to say 3 months, which is 90, so a little bit faster than what we thought. And the average price per square foot is about $161. Dollars, and the average square footage of the houses that are similar to yours were about 1,500 square foot, right? I'm not telling them anything, but I'm throwing some stuff out for them to start seeing what the averages are. Right?
Mhm.
Okay. So then the next thing I say is, okay, the next thing I did was I went to the sold properties because can we agree that we have to look at the sold properties to know what a buyer would pay, right? Active properties just knows what a seller wants. It doesn't mean what they're gonna get. We're gonna look at the sold properties and they, they say yes. And I highlighted the properties, 3 or 4 or 5 properties that I feel are closest to yours. And you have 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, you're about 2,200 square feet. I can't remember what else, I do remember those details about it, but I'd remember much better if I was actually doing this listing appointment. And so I highlighted properties similar to yours. And what I like to do is, I like to go one by one through these properties that are comparable to yours and kind of ask ourselves, if a buyer was looking at your house and their house, would they be competition? Would they be comparable? Or would a buyer say, no, your house is much better, or oh, we're gonna buy that other house? And I go through those houses one by one. So, right, here's one at 305 Country Club Boulevard. It's 2,100 square feet. It's 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. Sounds pretty comparable. That sold at $230.99. Right now, again, if I'm coming in here as an expired, they are like, ooh, right? Okay. Here's one on 172 Lincoln Hill Drive. It says 800 square feet. It's a bi-level. It's actually about 1,500 square feet. And that sold for $287. And then we have this one at 166 Lincoln Hill. No, 4 bedroom, 2 bath, about 2,000 square feet. It sold for $329. And then this one at 110 Mingus Forest Lane, 4 bedroom, 2 bath, 2,200 square feet. It sold at $335. And then, right? See look at
Yeah.
Lisa's face, make that face again.
It's like,
Yeah. Be quiet for a second and let them think about that, right? Because what do we all notice? Anywhere from 239 to 336.
yeah,
Right,
you're in a big 100,000
really wide range.
range.
Mhm.
And I'm just gonna let them sit on that. Let's pretend I don't know that they listed at 300, right? What I will tell you is seeing this in the pre-listing part, I would have gone to a bunch of people and said, where is this thing supposed to be?
Mhm.
Right, because this is a huge range. And gut instinct right now, kind of knowing what I know about the condition's not great on this house.
Right.
It's not bad, it's not in bad condition, it's just dated, it's nothing nice, right? And I would have looked at this Lincoln and I would have looked at Mingus, first of all, Mingus Forest isn't really a comparable area.
No.
Right, yeah. But I wanna hear what they have to say too, right? So I'm gonna say, okay, what about this one on Country Club?
Right.
Well, I've seen that one, and if they haven't, I'm gonna say, I just want you to know, I looked at this one, I looked at the photos on it, I haven't been in it, it's in pretty rough shape.
I bring the photos.
Yes, you could do that too. You could pull them up
Yeah.
on your phone, frankly,
Yeah,
right? That one, I'll let them off the hook, right? This one's in pretty rough shape. It really needs a lot of updating, et cetera, et cetera. Frankly, that one on Country Club Boulevard wasn't in pretty rough shape, It really was. The only reason these people are listed at 300 is because of these 2 comps. Because really they comp more with these 251s. What's your gut instinct on that?
I was just gonna ask Kathy, since you've been in it.
yeah, to me, that should probably, and I don't know, I haven't seen the pictures
Yeah.
currently, but probably more in the 270, 275.
That's kind of what I was thinking, and
Mhm.
don't forget.
Pictures are more of the ceiling.
Yeah, the pictures.
Well, and that's
I'm not
like
their
somebody took them on their phone, right?
He did,
I just looked at a new
Those are the
listing
worst.
this morning that it's out in Urbandale on Feld and it's like 350 and I'm like, are you kidding? He's got pictures of like, here's the bathroom sink.
yeah,
Like literally, here's the sink and the fixture and all the pictures, the cabinets that were in the 1950s. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know where you came up with this price.
yeah. And I don't know
They're
why
all
you're
on
showing me
iPhones.
these pictures.
Right, they're all on a phone, you
Yeah.
can tell,
Yeah.
and just don't serve it well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
terrible.
Okay. Then it really is a back and forth discussion, right? Here's the other thing. We've kind of changed a lot in our opinion of overpriced listings. I don't want an overpriced listing because it's demoralizing for me. It sits on the market forever, etc. I no longer teach agents, do not take an overpriced listing. I don't teach that anymore because the fact of the matter is, full fee agent has really changed how we feel about this a lot. It's their decision. It's their decision. If I'm going to start then working on getting them to about 270. Right, I'm gonna work hard on getting them to 270. And the way I'm gonna say that is, nope, I understand. Mingus Forest is at 336, but I think we can agree that Ridgeway and Mingus Forest are two different markets. It's,
Big
different,
time.
yeah, two different years built, 1960s
Completely different
versus that.
style.
Different styles, exactly. I think I can get them to get that one off their list. Lincoln Hill, right? It probably is a little bit
Yeah.
more comparable. So I'm gonna have to fight them on that one, but I'm gonna keep saying, okay, but don't forget, this one 287, I try to get them to Talia's buy level on Lincoln Hill to the 287, right? And I'd say, but in the end, if they are so stuck on those 300s, then what I'm gonna start saying is, okay, guys, understand, you can do that, but excited buyers look first. So excited buyers who are willing to pay clearly 239, 287, anything up to 300 are looking now, waiting for something to come on the market. They're not happy with these other two that are on the market. They're waiting for something, and those are your best buyers. And we come in too high and they don't buy, they buy something else. Then we end up chasing those buyers and they're gone. The smarter thing to, I'm gonna talk and talk, I'm gonna talk till I'm blue in the face, trying to get them to I'd say 280, I'd probably be happy with that,
Yeah.
280. If I can't, I'm not telling you anymore, don't do it. What I am telling you is then we're gonna talk about price reductions right up front. We're gonna say, okay, listen, I don't wanna leave your money on the table any more than you do. I'd hate to have you be able to get 300 for this and we didn't try it. If you're dead set that you think that we can do that. However, what we can't do is just sit and wait and wait and wait. So, as I said, strongest buyers are out there first. Let's agree, let's put it at your 300 that you want. But if in 2-3 weeks we have no offers, we automatically are dropping below 300. And we're gonna continue dropping every 2 to 3 weeks until we get down to that 280 mark, right? I'm not telling you don't take them anymore, but take them with those and write it right in the listing agreement. This price today, and you write it in other provisions. On this date, we're gonna drop it to this, on this date, we're gonna drop it to this, and lay that right out with them. Now, what do you do if you can't get them where you want them and you can't even get them to agree to price reductions?
You say it doesn't sound like we're the right fit.
There is power in walking away from an that's the problem. At some point, you're not talking about the house anymore. You're talking about you are an unreasonable person. You are gonna fight me at every turn. You're gonna fight me on inspections, you're gonna fight me on my commission, you're gonna fight me on the other agent, and I don't wanna work with you. Right? Unreasonable people are that I will tell you.
Yep.
Walk away.
I've walked away from some and felt better walking out of their driveway than I felt
Yeah.
taking
Yes.
the listing.
Yes,
It
Yes.
feels so, cause you can tell they're gonna make your life a living hell.
Yeah.
And it feels so good to be like,
Yeah.
oh, shake them off me, go home, be
Yes.
happy.
yes. And it's
And-
unreasonable.
That's true.
It's the if it's I don't care, I don't wanna see it, I don't want it, I won't listen, I know better than you, great. Good luck.
Yeah.
You,
I just turned one of those down recently that she just proceeded to tell me, and this was just on the phone, this is somebody that is pretty well known in the community and an appraiser told her to call me to list
Mhm,
her house, because like he said, Kathy's really good and he respected my opinion. And she proceeded to tell me, like, if you're gonna come in and tell us this price, we're gonna tell you that our house is worth so much more.
mhm.
Like, it's so, and
Not-
we
I
don't
thought
even
before
need a
you started.
realtor. I know how to do this. I can
Mhm.
do it. I just want you to do a walkthrough and just tell us. And I mean, I'm gonna charge her for that, number one, but number
Mhm.
two, she continued to just berate our profession in
Mhm.
general, so totally unreasonable,
Mhm.
which is not part of my mantra at
Mhm.
all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
fun, nice people with reasonable expectations.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
yeah,
And I always start off too saying, I'm not here to put a sign in your front yard.
right.
Yeah.
If you want somebody to put a sign in your front yard saying we can list it for $325, anybody can list it for $325.
Yeah.
Are they doing you any favors listing it that high?
Yeah.
No, they're not.
Yeah,
I'm
And
not
I-
here to put a sign in your yard.
I say that too. I
Mhm.
say, same thing. I'm not just here to put a sign in your yard. Matter of fact, if you already had a buyer and you know, you knew what to do, you don't need a realtor. What I'm here for is exactly this, is giving you good advice on pricing and giving you good advice on condition. And if that's not what you're looking for, that's what you're paying for with me. So you're right. You don't need me.
I've got quite a few sellers lately who are like, just tell me what's your price? And I've had to say 2 or 3
Okay,
times, and I need to find a better way to say it, I think, but yes, I don't have, I'm not here to give you a price.
I'm not here to buy the house.
I'm here to advise you as to what has sold, what is worth, what hasn't,
Right.
and to work together to
Yeah.
find your sweet spot.
Right.
That's why I'm here,
Yeah,
cause I think agents do just walk in and say 340.
Yeah.
It's like,
I
I'm
know
not
they
here
do.
to do that.
I know they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's
Okay.
your price? My
Yeah.
price.
It's not,
Yeah.
it's the market's price.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I wanna talk now, in listening to how we talk about price, like, you know, Chip said, well, none of those houses are like mine, right?
Mhm.
First of all, every objection they have, agree with them first. Agree with them first. Well, none of those houses are like mine.
You're right.
No, absolutely. It'd be awesome if we could say, oh, your house sold 3 weeks ago for this price, that's what it'll sell for. Absolutely, none of these houses are exactly yours, which is why we have to determine where a buyer would look at your house and consider. Right, or consider it over what else is on the market. Yeah. What other things, like, as I say this. Give me your, okay, but. Give me your arguments, your frustrations, it doesn't work that way for me, questions, what? What, people? One of the reasons Morgan is here is I'm having troubles not saying this, you screwed up. That Jerry James thing the other day was really good. I'm sorry everybody missed it, because it was really good. It was what to say and when to say. And it was a lot about.
It was seller objections and buyer objections, and he would give an objection and then he'd give a rebuttal to it.
Mhm.
And he did, I printed out afterwards, he gave up, sorry, you.
No, that's why I asked you here, go.
Afterwards, you could sign up to get his rebuttals, and so I did, and it's about 4 pages. For me, so it's just me and Casey down here. For us, it was a refresher, because I've seen Jared quite a few times, but even as a refresher, I actually took 2 of these and put them in my daily, I'm reading daily my objections so that they're memorized and I actually added 2 of them on here. I'd heard them before, but I still like them. I still think they're good. So
Have you read them today? I'm holding you
I have
accountable
not
right
read them
now.
today. I will read them today, they're right here.
Okay.
But I'm trying to read them every day.
Yes.
And I asked
Wanted
people
us
to hold me
to,
accountable.
right.
But it's literally seller objections, and then he says, the other agent told me that my house is worth a lot more money than you're saying it's worth. And then he has answer.
What does he say?
Let me be clear, there is nothing more that I want than for your house to be worth as much money as humanly possible, because I get a percentage of the sales price. Heck, I'd like someone to be willing to pay $3 billion. But what I want more than anything is for you to become another one of my clients that I work with for life, because you will be able to look back and know that I was honest with you from the very beginning, which included telling you the truth in situations where I can tell you were looking for different answers than I was providing. I told you in the beginning that I don't control the market, and that also means that I'm not always 100% right. do you happen to have the comps the other agent used? I'd love to take a look at them and see if there's something I'm missing. Which if
I
I did
didn't
pull
do
comps,
50 comps, yeah.
Right.
the agent
Yeah.
didn't even go over comp.
Right.
Yeah.
For one, and then he said the view, like in the thing, he said, the keywords there are, I can tell you're looking for different answers than I'm providing.
Yeah.
He said that's key
Mhm.
to, I'd love to get you what you're looking for.
Right.
You're
But
you're
I want you to
validating them.
use me
You're
over and
validating.
over and
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
again, and the way I do that is by being 100% honest.
And like whatever it said about the
Don't control the market.
market.
Mhm. Yeah, that's the thing, and to me, it's, I always lean more towards the snarky end of it, but I heard you actually say that earlier, like, well, so-and-so said this much. Did you tell them sold? It's like,
I
what?
had a client.
Are
this
they,
morning.
are they buying it?
Yeah.
Well, no, but they're, okay, then, right? Like, I had that, I got a listing appointment, well, the other agent, this is how I know they do it, cause I said, what did the other agent do? He basically walked through the house real quick, told me a price and left, he was here 10 minutes, right? And the price was higher, and I said, did you tell him sold? Like, what do you mean? I said, he's not buying the house, he's not
Yeah.
making you an offer.
Well, those agents
He's-
just a list
He's
for what.
buying the listing, he's not buying the house, he's trying to buy the listing. He's trying to
Absolutely.
give you a price that you think sounds great, so he can talk you into working with him for his great price. He doesn't have a great price, he's not buying the house.
Mhm.
He
Right.
just put his sign in your
Did
yard.
he give
Yeah.
you any reason to believe that his price was right? Did I give you any reason to believe that what we're talking about might be?
Sure.
Right, and that's the point where they say, no shit, she's right. And if they don't, if I can tell you, that's the thing, that's where that confidence comes in. When they start to push, we start to go like this, and we have to stop. We have to go. Listen,
Mhm.
I know what I'm talking about here. We have to be willing to stand with confidence. Because when we do, 99.9% of them go, she's right.
Yeah.
I've literally had wives turn to husbands and say, shut up, Gino, she's telling the truth.
Yeah.
I've had people say that, right? I've had husbands looked at wives and say, I told you it wasn't worth that much. Right? But you've got to be willing to stand there in confidence, and it's a calm confidence. It's a calm confidence. It's like the best sales presentation I ever had was from Fred Taylor, the Friends Never Let Friends Drive drunk guy. And went to visit him to see if we could get my son out of court. And he confidently told us all the things we do not know, confidently and kind of like an asshole. And I left thinking if I ever did, it'd be him.
Mhm.
Cause that dude knows they don't need you to be nice, right? Like,
Right.
yes, be nice and be yourself, right? But what they need is somebody who knows what they're talking about, and very quickly they will understand that other agent's stupid. They will, or they won't, and then fine, work with the other agent. I don't care. I don't want you if you're gonna fight me every step. We're both gonna hate each other. Morgan, I'd be curious to hear what the objections you've chosen to read every day are.
They're not all like objections,
Right.
so like the first heading is interviewing agents. If they say on the phone that they're interviewing agents, I wanna be able to. So the first one, I got this so I did full fee agent, I did some of the Jared James, and then I did ChatGPT too, and I said, okay, I like this sentence and I like this sentence and I like this sentence, can you help me put them together?
Nice.
So interviewing agents, if I hear the words, yeah, we're interviewing, or I ask, this is what I wanna say. It sounds like you have a few agents that you're talking with, and I completely understand that. If you end up meeting with them and feel that one of them is a right fit, that's great. But if for any reason they don't work out, or you feel like I might be a better fit to help you, please reach back out. My focus is simply making sure you feel confident and well taken care of, whether it's with me or someone else. That's a way of me saying, I'm not meeting with you.
Mhm.
Go ahead and meet with them. And if they take great care of you, great. But if you don't like any of the people that you meet with, please feel free to call me back. Cause I used to tell people I don't compete.
Well,
And I didn't take they didn't take it well.
No.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
said
And so
that
this is
too.
a way of telling people, you wanna interview agents? That's great. That's just not how I work. So interview them, and if you find someone you like, great.
Here's the obvious thing too, that's not so obvious. That very professional sentence is probably gonna be the most professional thing any realtor tells them.
Sure.
So
Mhm.
even though, how are they gonna know to call Morgan back if they like Morgan better? Because she was more professional in turning them down
Mhm.
than the other agent they met with was in their whole presentation.
Mhm.
So you
And
will
I
get a
don't
call
want,
back.
I've made the mistake where I drive to Kalamazoo on Labor Day weekend to meet with you. And we're vibing and everything's great, and I spend an hour and a half at the kitchen table, and then as I leave, they say, you don't have to shut off that basement light. The neighbor's a realtor and she's coming over later today, and why am I, obviously you're gonna hire the neighbor, you know her, you like her,
Yeah.
you why am
Yeah,
I here?
here.
I'm never doing that ever again.
Yeah.
I'm not either, and I took from you when I went out to one in Cascade Hills, and I thought, oh, this is great, I'm gonna get, it was right when I started. And then you said, you never were you
The
were never,
favorite?
Yeah,
you
the
were never the choice. You
Yeah,
were
The
never-
favorite of the fool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It was
they
never
kept-
gonna be you.
They text me
Yeah.
pictures of their floor done, couldn't wait for me, and then I'm like, oh, next thing you know, it's listed with.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
and I kept that in my head now, of you saying that, but I'm not doing it either.
Okay.
So then my next one is commission. And so this one was very long, and I even just narrowed it down a little bit more yesterday with Casey. But if they ask me about my commission, I just want, when it comes to selecting your agent, choose the one who gives you the highest level of confidence in achieving the best outcome possible. Who do you want negotiating for you, fighting for every last dollar, making sure you don't leave any money on the table? And most of all, who do you believe is going to put your interests first at all times, no matter what? That's the person you want to hire, regardless of their fee. Do I think I'm that person? Yes, but I'm probably a little biased. What's most important is, do you think I'm that person? And if you do, let's work together. And if you don't, let's shake hands, wish each other the best, and go our separate ways.
Mhm,
How would you like to proceed?
mhm.
And if they say right then,
Right.
I think we're gonna keep, great, perfect, goodbye. I don't wanna spend another minute here.
Kathy,
Mhm.
she's up 1.5% higher. She's not a half.
Mhm.
1.5% higher. And professionally and calmly explained why. And lady called her back and said, I'd rather go with you.
Mhm.
That's where you have to have that confidence. You have to just believe us, right, until you see it. That by calmly explaining why you're worth what you're worth actually is the professional experience they're looking for,
Right.
and we'll have them.
Well, and another way I think for newer, Kelly, I guess specifically, is 2% of nothing
Yes.
is nothing.
Yes.
If it doesn't sound, so it doesn't matter what you take it for. Because if I don't do my job, I get nothing.
Yeah.
And it's same with her or
Mhm.
whoever, or him or
Yeah.
them. So it's not about the fee. It's about who's gonna do the best job. I think kind of getting
Nobody
away,
gets paid till your house sells.
Right.
So choose
Do you
the
want
person
the
who's gonna
cheapest
sell your
doctor?
house.
or the doctor who's gonna get the surgery done successfully.
Well, I know I only had my second listing yesterday, but I listed with friends of ours
Mhm.
and. While we were camping a week and a half ago with them, and mind you, they've been talking about listing this house for a month.
Mhm.
And we're sitting around this campfire talking, and he brought up how his other friend, he could list with his other friend, and it was basically that, and I'm sitting there thinking. What do I say? Cause it, that little bit of me, sorry, was a
Turn the
little,
lot redder.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I just blush all the time.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I like that fluff.
I was like so like pissed right away, like
Uh-huh.
thinking, okay, you've drugged me along this far.
Yeah.
We're friends, why didn't you just tell me you wanted to list with this other person?
Mhm.
So I calmly, and I did not turn red, I know I didn't, but I told
There was a
him,
campfire light.
that's who you think you should go with and you feel like, that's the right choice. I said, but. And again, maybe I didn't handle this the best, but I said, I've been trained at this office and everything's about integrity and what's best for you, and. That's what I wanna uphold, but if you wanna go this other way. I'm totally with you, we're friends, it's no hard feelings.
Mhm.
And then cause the full fee thing, cause it was a 1.5% more.
Mhm.
And that seems to be I'm noticing that's a big thing. The more people I talk to, 3.5. So I have to get better at rebutting that 3.5 when they know they've talked to somebody that is 2.5.
Mhm.
Well, why are you worth
I
One
would
and a half
say,
more.
I would say, why are they at 2?
Yeah.
That's a good one, yeah.
Because I would
Services.
totally
So,
put that
right,
on
So
them.
that's one, Jared James has 2 answers for that. And I like them both. So he has, well, I know agents who will do it for less.
Mhm.
So he has, I think 4 answers for that. So the first one, well, I know agents who will do it for more. So let's just meet in the middle, where I'm already at and we both win. I like that
I
one.
like that.
Which do you value more, or which will you remember more 10 years from now? The exact price you paid for your agent, or the price you got for the largest asset you'll ever own and the kind of experience you had selling it?
I like that too.
And then he has one where it's like, ABC said they would do it for XYZ percent. Would you do it for that percentage? And he says, well, so I'm gonna say Kelly. So Kelly said she would do it for 2%. Would you do it for 2%? Then he says, well, at least Kelly knows what she's worth.
Mhm.
But I also know what I'm worth.
Exactly.
Ooh, that's good.
As well as
That's
what your house is worth.
Mhm.
And lucky for you, I plan to fight for its value the same way I fight for my own.
That's
Does that
where you
make
need
sense?
to get that.
If she's willing to discount her commission, is she also willing to discount the price of your
Right.
house or the negotiating on your house?
I mean, like, you could
That
hit
makes you
that
think,
point
doesn't it?
hard, right?
Mhm.
Well, seems to me, Kelly is very nervous about getting enough listings, and Kelly's doing whatever she can just to get a listing, and doing it as cheap as she can, because she's not good at what she does.
Yeah.
I mean, you could hit that hard if you wanted. I would hit much harder on why are they so cheap? Remember what's the movie Coach Carter? Why aren't you playing my child? No, no, and he goes, you're asking the wrong question. You should be asking him why he's got a D, and like, you're asking the wrong, and I might, literally, you're asking the wrong question. You shouldn't be asking me why I'm a full free
Right.
agent. You should be asking them, why are they so cheap?
Right, and what are you cutting?
And
What are you like,
What are you cutting?
what are you actually
And I'll
gonna
tell
do
you
for
what they're
me
cutting.
at 2%?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
they're gonna take a picture of
you
their
got-
phone.
Yeah.
And
Right.
put the
Or of a
verbiage in
sink
wrong,
in the
make sure the
toilet.
sink is
Well,
overpriced.
You've got, and that's what Dad meant by I finally had fun in real estate when I started saying what I wanted to say. You get pissed and you don't wanna be mean, and then you get hurt, and then you get worried, and you need to put all that aside and think. Say that thing and say it snarky or say it professionally. There are very professional ways to say, why are they so cheap? I'd use the snarky way. Wow, you're asking the wrong question. My question would be, why are they so cheap? That's how I'd answer it. But if you don't wanna be offhanded and snarky, there's ways that, I think I would ask myself, why is a professional's biggest selling point how cheap they are? That doesn't make sense to me, right?
So one of the other things he says is like with an alpha seller. Well, I don't wanna waste anyone's time. If I can't first agree on your commission, then there's no reason to continue.
Agreed.
That's his,
Yeah.
that's the seller.
Agreed.
The seller says that.
know?
Well, so
Yeah.
he says with a pushy person like that, the only thing they respond to is pushy.
Alpha
You have
dog
to
only
alpha
respond to a
dog.
bigger alpha dog.
He says, well, I agree, I don't wanna waste my time. So I'll tell you what, let's make a deal. We're going to negotiate my commission, but if you win, you have to promise that you'll never hire me to sell the biggest asset you're ever going to own. And it's basically saying, if you can push me back on my commission, you have to promise me that you won't hire me because
Because I'm a
anybody will
pushover.
push me, exactly,
Yeah.
because I'm a pushover.
Yeah,
If you push me over reducing my cost,
Right,
what do you think another agent's gonna do?
yeah.
right.
Don't
With
hire
your
me.
cost,
With your cost.
If I can't even stand up to you, don't hire me.
right.
'Cause
Or
I'm not
I
good enough.
blurted out without even thinking about it. Would you take a reduction in your pay?
I've done that before.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
And they're
Because,
like, oh, but I've never said it again.
Oh. See,
I don't know why.
I-
But that's effective.
I didn't
Yeah.
word it, but I gave a whole story one time I said, let's say your job wanted to do a safety project. And they asked you to sit on this committee and they pay you extra for sitting on this committee separately and devise a new safety procedure that would, get rid of accidents in your workplace. And you came up with something and you presented it and they loved it and said, But in order to do that, we can't really afford to pay you for what we said we pay you for doing it. Okay, well, they'd be pissed, right? You know, like, well, no. Okay.
Right.
We all deserve to get paid for the work we do. Right? And when you can confidently. The person who fights harder than you. Morgan's kind of got a point, and it's against you too. If they fight harder than you, then you don't really deserve their business.
Mhm.
So give up and let them go,
Right.
right? Or learn how to fight harder than them.
I had one that just went on and on. It felt, it was long enough for his wife to text him from the other room, stop fighting with her, just agree to the commission. I mean, it felt like forever. I saw the text when he looked at it.
Yeah, like knock it off.
We were standing over the kitchen island together,
Mhm.
and it just went on and on. It felt like it was eternity.
Mhm.
And so I said, okay, and I said everything under the sun. Would you expect to get paid all the things? And so at the end, I just said, okay, David, here's what I am willing to agree to. We're gonna sign it at 3.5. You're gonna sign. But if at the closing, you feel like I did not give you the best service possible, we'll lower it to 3. He said, okay, I want it in writing. Okay, write it down. We got 10,000 over asking, we closed quickly, and I never heard a peep about my commission. So if you really are confident, then I would say Alaska, cause I knew them, I sold them that house. I'd stayed in touch with them. If they were a complete stranger, I probably would have said, it sounds like we're not a good fit, da da da. But that was kind of, I do know you,
I've
I
done
do
that before
like you,
too.
it was
we get to
ready
closing,
to
you can
list,
honestly
pictures
say
were
this.
tomorrow. And I think that shows my confidence in and he signed it. And I got 3.5 at closing, and they shook my hand and said, thank you so much, we loved it. And
Well, I'll be honest, after selling my last house and purchasing this one, my husband and I were real a-holes because we did say, I can't believe they made that much money off of us. Like, what did she really do? And honestly, now I bite my tongue and I will tell people the amount of work that goes into this, we should probably be paid more because there's so
You
much.
should get a retainer fee.
For sure. I mean, it's a lot of work, and I have led with that.
But that's a good story. Like you actually were in their shoes,
guys, I
right? You were
used to
in
be
their
in your shoes.
Right, I used to think
I
the
used to
realtors
think
got way
that.
overpaid
Where are they getting so
until
much?
I
Yeah.
started this career.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say to Kelly too, you will find that friends are sometimes the hardest people to deal with.
Hands down.
Family.
And family. They think that you owe them
Or you'll do it for free.
extra, or you'll do it for free, or you should do it for a reduced amount.
I think you said there's no loyalty. There's really no, somebody told me
they
that
will
there's
throw you
really
under the
no
bus.
loyalty with anybody.
I will
Your
tell
best
you,
friend will list with somebody else if they think they're getting a better deal or
Yep.
whatever.
I will tell you, she was much younger at the time. She was probably 18 or something, but I remember Morgan saying to me once, she, nowhere near real estate, but saying, Mom, when I buy my first house, are you gonna let me have the commission I said, no.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna earn the commission, and then if I decide I wanna help you, but that'll be my choice, but no, you're gonna pay me. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, they absolutely think, that you should do it cheaper. Yeah.
Do you look at, like the hard ones that you go up against and you fight for the commission and then you say, it might not have been a good fit or whatever? Are you over, like, how when you're first starting out and you're like butthurt that you didn't get the listing or whatever, does that just come with, it wasn't meant to work together, or it just wasn't?
for me, a
A
lot
good
of it
fit.
has known when to just bow out.
Mhm.
I had one where they were referred to me. They called me, are you interviewing other agents? Yes, we're interviewing 2 other people who were referred to us, Nikki Greger and Anna Rogers. Both, and
From Remax.
that was the first time that I said, you know what, I just don't compete with people in my office. You have 2 great people coming. I told them no, and they were shocked. And honestly, I hung up the phone and I felt like
Good.
$1 million.
Yeah.
And it's funny, right? You should
Yeah.
feel, I felt like $1,000,000.
I think it gets better. at the
I think what
beginning.
you're talking about is when you do agree to go and be the competing agent and you don't get it. And you need to know that there's not a person in this room who has sold real estate who hasn't had their feelings hurt over that and been sad and been hurt or been disillusioned. Absolutely. And yes, it gets better with time. And it happens less often as you learn, I don't even want to be in that situation. I don't
You have to
even
tell
want
yourself too,
to.
it's the right, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
I've had that happen, lost one to Elmore Hart, it still stings me to this day.
I know which one you're talking about.
And it had to happen that way, it's done.
Yeah,
It's done whether I hold on to it or not, it's done. So it sucks,
yeah.
but
So, like, if you read the 4 agreements, do you know that book?
Mhm.
That, so one of the 4 agreements are, don't take things personally, right? And that is like so true, because their decision to hire somebody else, it wasn't personal to you. They
Right.
had a reason.
but that's what I like about the full fee agent is. If you're gonna do that. If you are gonna put yourself in a multiple agent situation, there are tips, tricks, there's things to look for. Are
Sure.
you the fool or are you the favorite?
Mhm.
Before you even make the appointment, and then if you do make the appointment, there are tips and tricks. If you're gonna compete with multiple agents, you need to be the last one in. And I've heard Mike Brubaker say, you're meeting with other agents, I wanna be the last one you meet with, so what are your appointments? And they do, they flip, well, Monday at 3 and Tuesday at 4.
They don't
Okay,
know.
I'm coming in, Tuesday at 5:30.
Yeah.
And we went to a broker meeting and a broker stood up and he had it, he was all, greased back, he was from Miami. And he was like a wheeler and dealer, but you could, and he said, I have this whole spiel and I don't have it memorized, but it was something like. I tell people on the phone, great, are you meeting with multiple agents? Yes, you are, great. So I wanna be, I wanna meet with you last. Unless you're one, because typically when you meet with agents, you get all the information and the last one you meet with, you settled with the information and you're ready to sign. So if that's you, I wanna meet with you last. However, if you're one of those people who's going to cave with the first agent you meet, let me know now and I'll come first. And I paused for a laugh.
Yeah.
And he's,
Right.
and they laugh. He says, but if you're gonna promise me right now that you're gonna stay strong for the last meeting, I'd like to be your last meeting. And he's like, I tee him up. I tee him up not to sign with the first agent. I tee him up that I'm, that you're gonna be ready to sign by the time I get there. And he's like,
Yeah.
I tee them
Right.
up every bit of the way.
And I love the word teeing them up because
Yeah.
in real
Yeah.
estate,
Yes.
if anybody could teach you one thing in real estate, it's the sooner you learn to set expectations,
Yes.
the happier you will be.
Yeah.
Telling them, here's how it's gonna work, here's how it's gonna work, here's what's gonna happen, here's what's gonna
Mhm.
happen. Teeing them up constantly is the best way. And, we listened to that speaker. I can't be the only one that was there that was like, you realtors, you don't explain anything. You don't tell us, here's what could happen, here's how it's gonna happen, here's why this might happen. You just call us up and say, the well and septic failed. And then we're supposed to like, what? Nobody, you realtors don't say, okay, we're gonna do a one septic, here's what can happen. But if it does, his point was you tell them all the bad things that could happen, but you also say, but don't worry, I have a system to take care of that, but don't worry, I know how to take care of that, but don't worry, I know who to talk to. But, his whole thing was, you gotta tell them the bad upfront a lot more. And that is all that teeing them up, right? So that they're like, yeah, she knew everything. She took care of everything, she knew everything, she told us, she said that other agent would try to do this to us, and they did, he said teeing them up.
I think I have a hard time with all of that because there's so
Sure.
many things to say. This could go wrong and then this could go wrong and then we do this and
Sure.
this, that, and you're just talking
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't even look at this house.
It's overwhelming.
Right.
So Emma,
I use a lot more.
Yes.
I mean, so then I'm like,
Yeah.
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 That's why I'm trouble with that a little bit, Emma, is because you're out, your strength is you're always thinking to the future. Your weakness is you're always thinking to the future, right? So she's right, you gotta handle it.
And I tell people,
This
if we
issue
talked
is-
about everything, we could be here all day.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to talk about it, but we could talk about things that won't even,
Surface.
come in your peripheral. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, but know that
But this wall is bugged.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I'm gonna tell you about, cause we're
Yeah.
getting here and it's
Right,
bugged,
yeah.
right? yeah, yes, with you especially, just trying to focus on what's right here, right now that I can warn them about, yeah, yeah. But even today, I thought, Lisa, have an outline, cause you're gonna talk about everything in the world and never, and get back up to your desk and be like, crap, I meant to tell him this, and crap, I meant to tell him that, so. Sure. Sure, you can forget things and. Morgan had a listing appointment so fast yesterday.
23 minutes.
That she got back and was like, I didn't tell him about this, I didn't tell him about this, I didn't tell him
Like a
about.
whirlwind.
Did you think about it all night last night?
I thought about it.
No, you didn't.
But then he texted this morning, cause I said 3 times, like, you don't have any questions. Like, I felt like he just wanted me to get out of his house. He signed everything. It's
Wow.
under
Yeah.
23
Wow.
minutes.
340,000.
23 minutes, he showed me, I never met him before. He was referred to me. He showed me the house, signed everything, and I was gone.
Like signed, wet sign?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
took the contract.
Yeah.
with you?
And the disclosure.
Mhm.
Came up with a price, everything.
Wow.
Yeah, I kept, like, you don't have any questions, you don't, so anyways, it did bother me, it bothered me, cause things like that do. But then he did text me this morning, after processing, I have a few questions now, can you call me when you're available? So I called him
Yeah,
this morning,
sure.
and it was, I told him, this net sheet is heavily padded, and so he was like, I don't understand why I'm paying their closing costs, and I'm like, yep, it's heavily padded, which
Right.
I tried to tell
And
you.
your worst case scenario.
You know,
Yeah.
blah, 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 and he was like, okay, sounds good, oh, and someone at my office said I could probably get more for it. That's, we're listing at 340, he said someone at my office said 360, do you wanna know why they said 360? Cause that's what Zillow says.
Yeah.
I'm sure,
Yeah.
it should be 360, I said,
Are they making an offer of 360?
yeah, I said, tell him sold, and he laughed, and I said, because if they're willing to pay 360, you'll
You're
take
willing to
it.
take it.
Yeah.
He was like, oh yeah, he said, I told him that you did your research, I didn't let you go over it, but that I can tell you. And so we'll go with the price you said.
Where's the house? I wanna say.
It's on Acacia,
Okay,
East Acacia, it faces the golf, has a big golf course view.
nice. All right.
Yes.
Sorry.
It's 11 o'clock. I need
Yes.
to mute now.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay, it's very, it's nice. Yeah.
And-
Happy of your, Georgie.